Be gone!
The only reason why Spectral Force 3 is ever played is because it exists. Sitting right between the light gun shooter nuts and roguelike nuts are the tactical RPG nuts. To them, there is no such thing as a bad tactical RPG. As long as the menu screen successfully loads at least 80% of the time, they're happy as clams. The only reason why Spectral Force 3 isn't the current whipping boy of the internet is that tactical RPG nuts are the only ones willing enough to actually seek this mess out. To go so easy on such a terrible game would be unfair though. Unfair to just about every video game out there that has at least some semblance of effort put in. I'm going to say this loud and clear. Spectral Force 3 is the ugliest Xbox 360 game I've ever seen. Its early middle-of-the-road, uninspired PS2 look is horrific. The anime cutscenes look utterly generic, with each character only having one single image designated as their avatar regardless of mood. However, the true pitiful part of this monstrosity is the in-game animation. I haven't seen such dull-ass character designs in a long time. The detail is low, enemy monsters look like polygon blobs, the textures might as well not even exist, the animations are sleep-inducing, and even the useless battlefields are heavily reused. Spectral Force 3's production values are in the gutter. No, scratch that, they're worse. The voice acting sounds like it's coming from some 80s animation dub, and the small handful of background music tracks are far from exciting. Now, despite the fact that aesthetics are actually extremely important components of most modern-day video game experiences, I'd like to assure you all that the fact that even though this game both looks and smells like crap right from the moment you first turn it on, I did truly give SF3 a chance. I understand that most RPGs aren't from Square Enix and are usually tight on budget. The shit-stained graphics are not the final condemning criteria in my inevitable terrible score. I assure you all that I enjoy tactical RPGs, I enjoy games that look old school, and I put quite a few hours into this barracuda. It wasn't very fun though. Spectral Force 3 commits one of the greatest RPG sins by making you farm your experience points right from the very offset by forcing you to grind against bug-level enemies. The process is long and slow. Something that would only take about 5 minutes in a game like Disgaea will take at least 20 or 30 minutes here. This theme of sluggishness and slowness extends throughout the entire game. After about 5 or so hours in, SF3 does pick up a slight bit. Your brain will finally wrap itself around the combo system, which is kind of cool, slightly, as executing a well-played strategy can be entertaining. The experience doesn't change though. If you have an addictive personality, perhaps this may bait you, but from then on until the very end of the game, each battle will play out in the exact same way. You hardly ever gain any new skills that are that impressive. SF3 is unbelievably mundane. Plain and simple, this story is worthless. I did sort of like the initial premise. There are 12 different companies, and as a band of mercenaries, you get to pick and choose who you wish to run missions for. Your actions vaguely influence the game's outcome. The execution is wretched though. It doesn't really matter who you run missions for, as most missions are exactly the same, even reusing the same maps. The enemies look so indistinguishable that the technicalities and who you're fighting against doesn't even really matter. Your progression is exactly the same regardless of which country you're occupied under. The way everything is structured through a single menu screen even further removes your involvement in the experience. It's just sad, and I can't see anyone really getting into this. The story sequences integral to this game's overarching storyline are almost non-existent. It really is that bad. Playing Spectral Force 3 feels like chasing meat on a string that's held out in front of you, no matter how large of a chance you give it, hoping that perhaps with the next battle there will be some sort of newfound level of excitement. It never picks up. The entire production is terrible. Developer Idea Factory came up with a gameplay engine that just barely works on its most primitive level and then called it a day. Even if you love these kinds of games, enduring the slowness is not worth it. There are so many better games out there. SF3 is a hodgepodge of repetitious insanity. Unless you are someone who gets addicted to these games regardless of how bad they are, and I realize that there are quite a lot of you out there, stay far away. Very far away. If you do decide to play this, be sure to wash your hands clean afterward. I give Spectral Force 3 on the Xbox 360 a 3 out of 10.